Okay, Lana, this may be our last topic, but Democratic members of Congress are or they're reviving a fight over President Biden's candidacy following a brief respite in the wake of Saturday's assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Some lawmakers are uneasy about the Democratic National Committee's plans to forge ahead with a virtual roll call vote to nominate Biden weeks before the Democratic convention. That a letter circulating among congressional Democrats argues that there is no legal justification for an early virtual roll call after Ohio moved its filing deadline past the date of the Democratic convention. So I think that was one of the things that they were using as an excuse, is that they wanted to get it in before this deadline of getting the nominee in so Biden could be on the ballot in Ohio. But it turns out, it looks like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be signing this letter. There are still a lot of people who still don't trust that Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump, especially in wake of what happened on Saturday. I think there is a feeling from some people, even a lot of people, that, and it appeared that Joe Biden was gaining some momentum, before Saturday. But then after that happened, what happened? Every single bit of attention went back on Donald Trump, and in a sympathetic manner from a lot of people. And some people are saying that particular instance won him the election. Lana? And of course, that Black people are going to love this because he was shot at.
How did that win him the election? And I mean, it's no joke, because people were saying that in our group. I'm like, stop saying that, because it energized his base. It energized his base. Are they going to vote 2 and 3 times? Because I think that they can only vote once, right? Like, excuse me if I'm wrong. That's not going to make an independent who's on the fence go, oh, he got shot, I better vote for him. Because that's not why they're on the fence. They're on the fence because of his policies. Do I really want to vote for a guy who's like this, or those never Trumpers who are like, can't go the 4 more years? Those are the people who are struggling with. I don't think him getting shot is going to it's not going to change that. It just energized his base that were already going to vote for this man. He's got the RNC convention. So it's like, and all these things are happening.
Yep.
But the news cycles are so short. They seem very long when we're in it, depending on what side it is. You got to hear, like right now, Democrats, liberals, we all feel like, oh my God, make it stop, right? Because it's their convention. Once it's our turn, we're going to be like, oh my God, all this momentum. Oh, the Democrats are really uniting. Like, watch that happen. And they're all going to pull together once he gets that nomination. And that is going to be the end of it. And I do want to say one last thing, just a comment. I'm so upset with whatever donors are out there that feel like I'm just going to choke him until he changes his mind. It's like, what the fuck? And who would do that? Who would risk that? You would stop. Choking the head is going to choke the rest of us. Like, are you fucking crazy? You're not punishing Biden. You're punishing the citizens, Americans, the Democratic Party. Why would you do that? That's the dumbest thing I've fucking ever heard in my life. What do you think?
You took a lot of the words out of my mouth. I really don't even need to speak, but because you said, and actually right before you got on, I was alluding to a lot of the same thing. Logistically, if you just stop for a second and think about this, Donald Trump getting shot at. First of all, Donald Trump is not a sympathetic figure. He can become a sympathetic figure with some people, but for the most part, people still remember and know who this man is. So it did not gain him votes. I said basically exactly what you said. When you vote, you are voting for policy. You're not vote. This isn't a popularity contest in school, even though in some regards it's kind of turned into one, because people they're voting on who they think is more, in a sense, popular, or more who sounds funnier, or who sounds, they're not actually paying attention to what their policies are. They're doing it. Some people are just going like, well, I know I got to vote. And, my friend told me Donald Trump's awesome and he's going to make us a lot of money. So I'm going to vote for him. But logistically, you're right. It doesn't gain him voters. It gains the people that are voting for him. It gives them a louder voice. It gives them, and that scares the shit out of too many Democrats, liberals, leftists, whatever the fuck you call them. They just get so scared by these people. And, there was a time not too long ago where I was starting to think to myself, look at this. The left is starting to get stronger and they're starting to fight back and they're starting to give a fuck you sort of attitude towards these people. And now Joe Biden stumbles for a minute in a debate, and now they're all back in the corner in the fetal position. It's like, Jesus Christ, people, fucking calm down. You know what? Joe Biden's not the only person that has a voice here. We all have a voice here that could help get the message out. And if your plan is to just throw your hands up in the air and say, well, I guess we have 4 years of Donald Trump. You don't have 4 years of Donald Trump. You're going to have years and years and years of MAGA, whether it's Donald Trump, J.D. Vance.
That's what they said it's called now. That's what Kevin Roberts said, or whatever his name is. It's Trumpism. They're reinventing. So, yeah.
By the way, Lana, I'm glad you brought up Kevin Roberts, because he's another one of the guy that we just played a clip a week or two ago of him saying that everything will be bloodless if the left allows it. These are the people who tell us that we need to temper down our fucking language. Right. And I'll tell you, man, that just irritates me. And yeah, you'll see Lana and I, and people will be like, well, you guys are getting pissed. You guys are saying fuck and getting pissed off and all this stuff. But we're not out.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I do too. Which, but I mean, we get angry, and you're damn right. I get pissed off, but I'm not calling for the murder of anybody. I'm not calling for the death of anybody. I'm not calling for the end of religion. I'm not calling for the end of country music, even though I can't stand that shit. It's just, but they want to end everything that they don't like, and that's not like them. So that'll piss me the fuck off, and I know it's gonna piss Lana off. So, and to sit back and just pretend like these people aren't saying these things is not on my radar. Sorry, it's just not happening.
Right. Agreed.
So, last few clips I want to play. This is kind of funny. It'll give us something to laugh about a little bit. I love irony, right? I love when people are talking shit about somebody, and it just so happens to them at the same time. This is Mike Johnson the other night talking shit about Joe Biden reading off a teleprompter, and then this happens to him just last night.
President is reading off a teleprompter. I don't think he's capable of making these big decisions, and that is something that should alarm all of us, and it's something that we need to be talking about. I think people are...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce the Attorney General, and there goes the teleprompter.
And there he goes. The teleprompter went out, and so he got stuck in he couldn't remember the guy's name. Was it that difficult just to introduce the guy and say his name?
Right. You don't have it on a piece of paper, his name?
I mean, I love irony. This is another one. Kristen Welker, who was talking about Joe Biden and his little stumbles. She had a little stumble of her own.
He was clearly comfortable discussing foreign policy issues from Ukraine to China, but he did mix up Vice President Harris and former President Trump's names mere minutes into the event, just hours after mistakenly calling Ukrainian President Zelensky President Putin. Welcome back. One group that's happy with how President Biden's news conference went last night, Republicans especially.
I love it. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's just these people are on there, and they're holding him to a standard that they can't even do themselves.
Right. Right.
And they're way younger than he is.
Exactly. And Putin and they're both named Vladimir.
Yeah, that is correct too. I mean, and again, I want to get another thing straight. Joe Biden reads very well off a teleprompter. So when I see him at some of these rallies, I'm like, wow, he's nailing it.
He's a professional. He has a tone. Today he messed up a little bit because he put the like the exclamation point after race, but it was something that came next. I forgot how it was, right? Like race based, right? Or something. He was like race based.
Right? Well, that's been Joe Biden, though. You know what I mean? It's like we talk about, like, we know who Donald Trump is and we forgive him. We know who Joe Biden is, but we're not forgiving him. It's just,
I forgive him.
When I say, I guess I shouldn't say we. I guess I should say they.
If he calls him calling Vladimir Putin has nothing to do with him trying to reinstate Roe for us. That has nothing to do with him trying to lower the rents around the country. It has nothing to do with him trying to forgive people's loans. Like, it has nothing to do with policy. He can, as long as that man can pick up this pen and sign bills into legislation that Congress, right? Congress is, drafting and fighting about. And then it comes to Biden. That's all we need Biden to do. His hands work. He's good.
I mean,
what the hell? What does he need to do next?
But you know what? It's not just his hands, though, Lana. His brain works fine. He's just older, and he'll flub words, and he'll get a little slower on his responses. But I guarantee we saw it in that press conference last week when he's asked about foreign relations, and he's asked about these questions. He answers it like, first of all, like he loves it. Like this is his wheelhouse, and he wants to talk about this kind of stuff. Where Donald Trump, the only thing he would say is, well, they love me over there. I went over there, and every time over there, they love me. And the plan that we have is going to be great and big and grand, and it's going to be awesome, and you guys are going to love it. And they'll say, well, what is it? He'll just say, well, it's foreign stuff. We can't talk about that. But Joe Biden, you ask him about it, he'll talk about it. He'll go on and on and on. In fact, I'm even kind of like, all right, Joe, shut up. Let's move on to the next question, because that's his thing, and he understands it. So it's not just his hands working. It is his brain that works. He's a little bit slower, but the record that he has had that is behind him, to me, this is a no-brainer if we lived in a logistical perfect world. Not even perfect. It doesn't even have to be perfect. We live in a world where people understood what they were voting for. Every single person understood actual policies and what they were voting for. Biden would win all 50 states easily, handily, not even close.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Lana. Okay. Well,